Welcome back to Timbersmith Decoys. Today we're going to be taking a look at how we're going to let our decoys. Do you want to take your decoys from this to this? Today we're going to be taking and letting this decoy, and I'll show you the step-by-step process that I use for that. So stick around, we'll get the lead pot warmed up and I'll show you what's going on. Okay, we're going to let this decoy, this rainbow trout. We got our eye hook here. And I'm going to go roughly right over the top of the front fins, because when you go up, you want the back end to drag down so it noses up, basically like this, and then when it comes down, it wants to nose down. So if we put our line tie here, okay, so we got our line tie in there. Now we're going to kind of basically come right underneath our line tie, and we also want to kind of know where our center of gravity is, which is going to be right kind of or right in between the two fins. So I'm going to put one lead cavity here and one right about here. I'll pull the fins out so I don't cut through them. I've got my 5/8 Forstner bit here. I'm going to go right in the center. No, not quite in the center there. Now you want to be very careful as you're cutting or drilling into this. I'm going to go just slightly more than the Forstner bit. Now you're going to have to play around with this with your decoys. I just know this is roughly how deep I need to go with mine. I'll do the same thing back here. Okay. Now I'm going to take my Dremel bit, and I've got just a bi-material cutting bit burr on there. I got this one off of Amazon. Now I like to drill a hole all the way through so that the two lead interconnect with each other. This does a couple different things. It evens out the lead weight, and it, also will take and make sure that this lead won't work its way out. A lot of older decoys that you see, the lead will actually slowly work its way out and it'll become loose in there. This way, the way I do it, it locks that lead into place. So I'm going to bring you over to the lead pot and we'll show you pouring the lead in. Oh, the other thing that you want to do quick is replace these fins. Just show you two of them here. Get them placed where you want them, but then we'll get over to the lead. Alright, we got our lead hot. We'll get in here and pour. Now as you can see, it's going through both of the cavities, working its way up. You want to leave a little bit of room so that you can put filler in there, whether that be baking soda and super glue, wood dowels you can put in there, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to let this cool down and then I'll show you how it swims. Alright, the lead is cool. We're going to see how it sits in the water here. It doesn't sit too bad. It's a little nose heavy. A lot nose heavy. But it doesn't swim too bad. So we're actually going to take a little bit of weight out of the nose. Alright, so we took some weight out of the nose. You can see where I drilled out the lead there. I just used a 3/8, I think it's a 3/8 inch drill bit, wood drill bit. When you go to put it in, you always want to put it in sideways so it gets the air out of it. Now you can see how it's swimming a little bit better. It's still kind of nose heavy, so it's heavy on the back end. So I just use a drill bit. I'm going to try it again. Well, my tank isn't very wide, so I think I want to take a little bit more out of the back. Now I do this slow. You can always add more lead back in, but there you can see I took more out of the back. And now, whoop, I took too much out. So I added a little lead back in. So the way it's acting, you see how it's nosing down so hard? I'm actually going to take and drill another hole right back here and add just a little bit more lead, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I added a third hole here, just a little 3/8 hole. We're going to see how that goes. There we go, look at that. Just what I wanted. You can see how it goes and levels off real nice. The rest of that I can take and adjust right with the fins, how it swims, but you can see how it just goes nice and around. That's what we're looking for in a decoy. Now it takes a little bit to get used to what you're looking for, how it's sitting in the water and all that. It just comes with practice. But keep it up and you'll get there. You'll learn the feel of the decoy when it's in the water. And it just gets fun to see how different ones swim, because you can make the same decoy. Oh, all my fins coming off. But you can make the same decoy body and it'll swim totally different. Because the knots in the wood, the resin in the wood, everything like that, it'll swim different. So every decoy, you're going to have to go through this process and check it out. So we let this dry in the oven. I actually put it at 170 degrees in the oven and I leave it in there for a couple hours. I did stick a couple wood plugs in where we drilled out the holes. But now we're going to take our super glue and baking soda and I'm going to show you how we fill these in. You don't want to go too deep, otherwise the baking soda will be dry on the bottom. I'm actually going to pull all these fins out real quick, make my life a little easier. You only want to go probably, whoop, that was a little much, about 1/8 inch is most you want to go. Okay, one thing I forgot to do, I'm going to take my sanding paper, sand down the top of these holes. That'll give us a nice easy area to glue. So what I do is I'll take the flat edge here, just like that. Now you also want to work in a well-ventilated area because the fumes coming off of this are not good. I have a fan blowing at my back just to kind of blow the fumes away from my face. And if you get any super glue on the body, you just take a paper towel real quick, give it a quick wipe down. It'll keep a lot less work in the long run. And you also got to be careful not to get sawdust in your baking soda because it'll sit there and tug and pull on it. Now, as you notice, when I go and fill in, like right here, as I'm filling it in, when the super glue hits the edge of the hole, I'm going to give it a quick blow, so it blows all the super glue off. Or I mean the baking soda. It'll keep my sanding down to a minimum. And I got super glue on the edge of my feeler gauge. I'm going to give this a quick sand down, get everything smoothed out, and I'll show you how to do the fins. So we got this all sanded smooth. Now I'm going to come in with my fins. Actually, I'm going to using my feeler gauge. Go through, smooth it off. Super glue. I do one drip at a time. So when it gets to the end, then I blow it off. Alright. We'll let this glue set for just a minute. And then we'll take it over to the swim tank. We'll make sure it's level on where I have my screw eye. And I'll show you how that's done. Alright, I removed the screw eye from the fish. And I just use a hair tie. And I take that. And then I put it in the water. Now you can see how the tail is floating up. So I'm going to take and move that forward. And you can see where it's just about level. And just a little bit more. And right about there, well, go a little bit further forward than what it is. I'll switch it around to the front one. There. Switch it to that one. There we go. Nice and level right there. So what I'm going to do is take it out. Being careful not to move where it's at. I'm going to take an awl and mark my hole. Now that's where I'm going to put the screw eye for the decoy. And I'll get that in and I'll show you how it swims. Okay, so we got our decoy. Here we'll get the screw eye in. Drop him in. Sits nice and level. Let him drop down. He rolls forward. Like I said, I try to get about a 4.5 foot swim out of them. Like bluegills and all that are a little bit harder to get a real wide swim out of because they're so short. But there you go. Start to finish on how to lead a decoy. Once again, there you go. We'll see you in just a second. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video on how to lead your decoys. Just wanted to take a quick minute and just remind you guys, hey, we're working with chemicals here. Make sure you're wearing the proper protection. PPE is extremely important when working with this. We're working with lead, we're working with baking soda and super glue. It gives off fumes. Make sure you're wearing your respirator, wearing vinyl gloves, something like that to make sure you're not getting this all over your hands and that. And if you guys like the video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more video on content like this, subscribe. That way you'll get notifications as soon as I upload videos. And as always, guys, thank you very much for checking in. My name is Travis. I'm with Timbersmith Decoys. You can check me out on Facebook and that. So, as always, thank you and God bless.